What is the question? You can repeat.
Why is there so much friction between many schools of thought in India, like
Okay.
Advaita and Advaita?
Okay. So there are many schools of thought in India. Okay. Uh, some primary schools, which some basic some schools of thought, we can say Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, and Advaita. Then Sankhya and Vedanta. Then Nyaya, Vaisheshika, and other systems are also there. Okay. So why there is a friction between these systems? Now this friction is not a fight. It is not at all a fight. Okay. In India, always we respected the wisdom. It is not like a political fight which takes place between two political parties. Okay. Two political parties will come each with the one ideology or one thought process, one ego, and they fight with each other. There's no common meeting ground at all. They keep on fighting forever. In India, the discussion used to happen to understand the truth. Okay, to discover the truth. To discover the truth, you need only have dialogue. Okay, when I talk something, I need to understand your viewpoint, and you need to understand my viewpoint. The dialogue can happen only when there is a common reference. Understand? If there's no common reference, there's nothing, no dialogue can take place. Right? You talk English, I talk French. There's no commonness. Then we can argue for years together, nothing will come out of that discussion. Understand? So what is the common reference which Indians had for any dialogue is called the Vedic knowledge, the Vedic wisdom. What we call as Upanishadic teachings. That was a common reference. Now, in that common reference, interpretation can be different. Understand? So the discussion was about the interpretation, but not common reference itself. The schools of thought, either Dvaita or Vishishtadvaita or Advaita, they always said our reference is Vedic knowledge. We are not questioning Vedic knowledge. Now we are only questioning the interpretation of Vedic knowledge so that we may discover the truth. Understand? Interpretation can be slightly different. What is that Vedic common reference? The Upanishad is a collection of realization of rishis. Okay. So there are many rishis realize the truth, one truth in different ways. So that is the Vedanta. Now, the realization of somebody is individual. For example, I feel I eat sweet and I say, oh, this is sweet. Okay. Now, if you don't have, if you are not tasted sweet, there's no way you can understand what is sweet. Right? So now the question is, the realization, is it an individual experience or is it available to other people for experiencing? Correct? So now if you have tasted sweet and you say that, oh, the sweet is so good, is there any other way other people can experience it? Right? So that is the interpretation. Interpretation of Vedic literature in different viewpoints. Now the discussion between these different viewpoints is to understand, the stand is taken and try to understand the reference material, which is Vedic literature. Okay. So the reference is the Vedic literature. Understand? With reference to that we are discussing. It's okay. Sit down. Right? Now what is that you will do? Some Rishi has discovered that this is Sarvam Khalu Brahma. Everything is Brahman. Now definitely it's experience, his experience. Definitely it's a realization. Is it available for anybody to interpret? How will you interpret? It is like a person who has realized some truth is like a person who has gained eyesight. And those who have not gained eyesight are like blind people. The person who has gained eyesight is explaining about light. And those who don't have the eyesight, they have to understand light from the viewpoint of the person who is speaking with the new eyes. How will you understand that? So those experiences, those who have realized that light, they have put down their experiences in the form of Upanishads. Now all that we are left is to understand and interpret it so that we may also move in the path of truth. Right? Now that actually leads to a situation, different interpretations, because we are coming from a background, different background and different interpretations. Okay. So the question is, now I come with the interpretation, you come with the interpretation, but now let us both of us sit and discuss. The purpose of discussion is not to fight and defeat you, because both of us want to discover the truth. That's the common objective. Okay. This was the synergy between Indian systems. The Vedic reference, okay, and different interpretation based on the background, and discussion to discover the truth, neither to defeat you nor to defeat somebody else, but to discover the truth for myself or truth for both of us. That was the Vedic system. Are you clear? So for that, we need to have as much clarity as possible. So that clarity is what people are seeking through this debate and discussion. Okay. Over a period of time, it degenerated. That's a different matter, right? The intellectual giants which we had, and intellectual reduction of the intellect, no, over a period of time, that has led to fight. But really, the person's original interpreters are who has the intellect is so sharp, intelligence is so sharp, they are trying to find out the subtlety. It is like a legal system in the law. There's a constitution of India. Okay, there's a dispute in the court. The two lawyers will fight with each other in that interpretation, subtlety, right? Very subtle. Even the small constitution the subtlety can be, so many nuisances can be there. They will argue it and come to some conclusion. So similarly, the Vedic reference was people argued and discussed over a period of time to get that clarity. Okay, it was not a fight. There was no fight. Now, the understanding and clarity will come because of three different category of people. Okay. The person who has a deep inner experience of duality, he comes from a Dvaita school of thought. The person who has an experience of connectedness will come from Vishishtadvaita. The person who has come from a sense of unity will come from Advaita. Now, are they opposing each other? Okay, there's a mountain. At the bottom of the mountain, somebody is standing. Now, if you ask the question, what do you see? What will he say? He will say, I see some cows grazing, I see some field. At the middle of the mountain, if somebody, same person is climbed, then you ask him, what is he seeing? Oh, I see a river that side. Then somebody is at the top of the mountain. If you ask him, what you are seeing? Oh, I am seeing the vast sky and the ocean. Now, are these three people contradicting each other? Why?
Because all the three are telling the truth.
All the three are telling the truth, but the truth is with reference to where they stand. Same thing is true with Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita and Advaita. So, there is a beautiful story in Advaita Ramayana. Somebody asked Hanumanji, you speak of so much about Rama. What is Rama to you? Okay. Hanumanji said, when I open my eyes, I get a sense of embodiment. I am the body, embodied soul. Then Rama is my master, I am his servant. I follow dharma, I follow my master. Understand? Because we get a sense of I am an individual. Understand? This is actually called Dvaita. When you have a sense of embodiment, the devotion to the master, the service to the master, Lord, is the path. Now Hanumanji said, okay, I close my eyes and meditate. When I close my eyes and meditate, I feel deeply connected to Rama. I feel deeply connected to Rama, which means I is there, the feeling of connectedness is there to the Rama. Okay? Rama is no longer my master, I am servant. Rama is my relative. Okay, I am connected to Rama. This is called Vishishtadvaita. Then Hanumanji said, as I meditate deeper, I enter into a state of Samadhi, oneness, union. Then there is no Rama, there is no Hanuman. Okay? This is a state of Advaita. Now, are they these three opposite of each other? They are your own state of consciousness depending on where you stand. When you are feeling deeply embodied, your dharma is to follow the master. Your dharma is to do the service. Your dharma is devotion, bhakti. When you are meditating, you enter into a state of meditation, you feel connected. Okay? Then the divine master, Rama, Krishna, their qualities will enter into you. You feel related. Then you attain a state of samadhi, oneness, which is actually there's no difference between the master and disciple. There's no difference between the master and servant. There's no difference between the God and the individual. All that is there is God Himself. I dissolves. It is like a salt doll. When it goes to a ocean, okay, to see how much salt is there in the ocean, there's no longer salt doll. It's only ocean remains. Similarly, when you enter into samadhi, it's no longer you remain. I is not there. Only that supreme reality remains. Okay. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman, it said. Okay. Actually, I am Brahman is not a realization. I am Brahman is a contemplative practice. When using that contemplative practice, when you reach, okay, Brahman alone remains. I am gets dropped. Right? So now this is a state of realization. Now people are different states of being. So now the masters will address the class of students. And for those class of students, they will tell this is the understanding. For example, as primary class is there, primary school is there. In primary school, somebody is coming in teaching Newton's law. Okay, is the Newton's law ultimate? What is the ultimate? Is quantum physics ultimate? Or is string theory ultimate?
As of now, string theory is ultimate.
But Newton law, the lecturer who teaches Newton law, he will give all the force saying that this is the Newton law. This is the only correctness. Because if those students you don't want to confuse. Right? Understand? So now if you start string theory, quantum physics to the primary school kids, they will get frightened. They will not study science. Right? Whenever master addresses a class of people, he will tell forcefully his argument with reference to that class of students and that understanding. He will not confuse them. For their evolution, what is understanding required? He will put forcefully. For that, it may appear that he is counteracting other master. That's okay. But you have to understand that his focus is not countering the other master, evolution of these students who are there in the class. Are you clear? Okay. Those who don't understand this, they'll get confused by this logic. That's why you have to listen to the story of Sri Shankaracharya. How he had a discussion with the Mandana Mishra. Shankaracharya was a proponent of Advaita. Advaita is not Shankaracharya proposed. Advaita is there in the India since time immemorial. Okay, Shankaracharya went on talking to many people and he came across a scholar called the Mandana Mishra. Okay, he didn't know which place Mandana Mishra lives, but Mandana Mishra was very famous. Mandana Mishra was proponent of
Karma.
children. No. Yeah. Mandana Mishra was the proponent of Karma Kanda. Okay. Now, Shankaracharya did not go with the intention of defeating Mandana Mishra. Understand? Shankaracharya is a proponent of Jnana Kanda. The idea is there is a discussion. Okay. So for that discussion, Shankaracharya went in. Right? Now the discussion between two people who are very, very highly qualified can have a lot of nuisances, very subtlety. And please understand, in India the logic was developed to such an extent, very sharpness, okay? Compared to the today what we have is nothing, zero or negative. Their logic was focused on discovering the ultimate truth. Okay, that is called Nyaya Shastra. Very, very subtle and gentle arguments. It's like a judo fighter, subtle movements. Okay, all those things they discuss. Right? They are not like politicians fighting today. They actually use a very, very subtle discussion, subtle argument to discover finest principles. When you want to discover finest principles, your argument, your understanding has to be subtle, your logic has to be sharp enough. Okay? It's not to defeat somebody, but to understand. So Sri Shankaracharya didn't know where Mandana Mishra's place is. Then somebody told him, it's very easy to discover Mandana Mishra's place. Okay? You know how? You go to Mandana Mishra's place, even the parrots there will be singing Vedic chanting. That means the parrots are there, they speak Vedic language. That's the place of Mandana Mishra. Okay? So he goes there. There are a lot of students from Mandana Mishra. Now Mandana Mishra says, okay, we'll discuss. And the idea is not to defeat or fight. The idea is to discover the truth. Please understand, this is the difference. So now this argument will go on. Now who will judge these two people who are giants?
Wife
Huh?
of Mandana Mishra.
Was that?
The wife of Mandana Mishra.
Bharati Devi. So now to judge somebody, two giants, you need a judge who is able to judge, right? Become an umpire. It's very difficult. Okay? For most of the people, 99.9% of the people today won't even understand what is this logic. Right? Very, very sharp. So now, the Mandana Mishra said, if my understanding is not correct, I will take the path of sannyasa and you will become your follower. Okay? The idea is not that I become defeated and I join your party. Right? You are on the right path, so I will become your follower. Understand? So that was the idea. Now that means he has to leave his house and he has to take sannyasa. And how can his wife become an impartial judge of this situation? Because if her husband loses, he will leave her and go. How can she be impartial? She was impartial because she was also interested in truth. Right? You see the commitment of the truth. Commitment to the truth. Okay? That's why India was called Bharata. Ba means wisdom. Rati means people who are interested in wisdom, finding of the ultimate truth, the discovery of ultimate truth. These are not dumb arguments. These are not fights. They are subtle interpretations. Shankaracharya and Mandana Mishra, their argument went on for 21 days and nobody is winning, nobody is losing. Okay. On the 21st day, every day, Bharati, she used to garland both the people with fresh jasmine flowers. On 21st day, the jasmine flowers on the body of her husband started withering. Then she said, "You are losing. The jasmine flowers are withering. The reason is you are losing, and you are losing your inner balance. Okay? And that's generating heat in your body, and the jasmine flowers are withering." Okay. Such was their commitment to the truth. And she declared Sri Shankaracharya the winner. And Mandan Mishra became follower of Shankaracharya. So you have to see, these are not arguments. These are discussions to discover the truth. Okay. Now the arguments are taken, they take different positions for that. Now all these discussion, the subtleties, the complexities of philosophical system, argument, is recorded in what you call as Brahma Sutra. Very, very hard to understand. Very complex. Because the logic is so subtle. Okay. Now we are in a situation, actually compared to those intellectual giants, we are pygmies. How do you understand those giants? And they left us a record called Brahma Sutra. I'll tell you frankly, there are very few people to really understand what is there in Brahma Sutra. The arguments, subtle arguments, counter arguments, all those things. Understand? So this was the tradition of India, discussion to discover the truth. But obviously the followers don't have the same level of intelligence as the master. If there was, then there will be many masters. Then followers fall into argument because they don't understand, they don't have the tools and logic and subtlety which is there. They have to rely on what is written by the master. Now what is written and what is told by the master, there is always a complexity, challenge. Okay? Because master says something and disciples understand in another way. And there was no, in earlier days, there was no video recording, there was no audio recording. All that they had to do was they listen to the master and write it down. Okay? And they were good in that. It's not that they are not, they used to do it very sharply, right? Their intellectual was so sharp, their understanding was so sharp, they listen and write down. Now the person who listens and writes down, if there is a corruption, then writing also is corrupted. This happened in the time of Buddha. Buddha had 10,000 enlightened disciples following him. Okay? Then these 10,000 disciples, wherever Buddha went, they followed. They were very peaceful, very joyful, and they used to move with Buddha. And one day Buddha passed away. So then the people asked him, people were now started wondering, what happens to the Buddha's teachings? Okay? He has taught, every day he speaks. Every day whenever he goes, whenever he meets people, he speaks. The difficulty is to record those speeches, record discussions. Then they met in a place called Hall of the Enlightened. That's called Ananda Bhavana, the Hall of the Enlightened. The minimum entry criteria for into that hall is enlightenment. Those who are not enlightened cannot enter into the hall.
Minimum requirement.
Okay? The Hall of the Enlightened. Hall of the Enlightened. 10,000 people, it's like a stadium, they gathered. Then they are discussing how do you preserve the teachings of Buddha? Very difficult question. Somebody says, I joined Sangha. I started following Buddha 10 years back. I got enlightened after 1 year. Actually, unfortunately, For the first 1 year, whatever Buddha taught, I can remember very sharply. After that, I was just relaxing and following Buddha. I don't. I was there with Buddha just not for listening what he said, just for joy of being with Buddha. My job is over, right? It is over. Okay. Then another said I had 3.5 years. Another said 2.5 years. Another said 6 months. Now the problem is nobody is there. Buddha has taught for almost 30 years or so. Nobody is there who can reproduce the whole teaching of Buddha. Okay. The problem is there now. Understand? So, who can reproduce the teachings of an enlightened being? It's very difficult because whenever enlightened being speaks, the teaching gets corrupted in the unenlightened mind. Okay. So then there was one person called Ananda. Ananda was there with Buddha. He was like a personal assistant of Buddha. He was there throughout the journey of Buddha, all the 30 years. In fact, Ananda was Buddha's cousin. So Ananda wanted to join Sangha, and he told Buddha that I'll join Sangha, provided I don't want enlightenment. I want to be with you. So 30 years he was with Buddha, and he was there with Buddha for every meeting which Buddha had with anybody. And Ananda's greatness is that he had a photographic memory. Okay, he had a photographic memory, very very sharp. Any conversation which Buddha had with anybody, he had recorded in his mind. But unfortunately, he is not allowed into Hall of Enlightened. Okay. So now there is a problem. The people in the Hall of Enlightened have not heard Buddha's teaching fully. People who are unenlightened have heard Buddha's teaching fully, but not allowed inside. Then this resolved this dilemma that Ananda said in front of the hall and said, in 24 hours I'll get enlightened. And within 24 hours he was enlightened, and he was allowed inside the Hall of Enlightened. And then he started dictating every verbatim what happened. Tathagata, the Buddha, met this person, Subhuti. Subhuti says so and so. Like that, word by word, he started dictating, and that was recorded by thousands of monks. And that became what's called Tripitaka. Understand? So now what happens is what master says, what people understand, what they communicate becomes very different. So that's why many of these masters' teachings are recorded, and there are interpreters and multiple interpreters, because the master teaching itself can be interpreted in many ways. Okay. So then over a period of time there can be dispute between the followers. Okay. So that's how it states today. Right? Okay. This is about all the systems of India which have a Vedic as a reference. Now that is actually whether it's Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, and variety of philosophical system. Now the problem comes which don't have Vedic reference. Buddhism doesn't have Vedic reference. Jainism doesn't have Vedic reference. So then what discussion can take place between these two? Okay. So then what happens is that their philosophy they take and comment on that to say this philosophy is not in accordance with Veda, and that becomes a reference. So now there is no fundamentally in belief system, in understanding of life, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism and Sanatana Dharma, they all come from the basic same fundamentals. But they may not say that Veda is my reference. So there is some synergy. Whereas there are Avedic systems, the systems which are not Vedic in nature, the religions which are there outside, okay, there is a problem for us. First of all, they don't have a common reference, and they never agree with what we say, and we can never agree with what they say. Understand? And there is no discovery of truth. There is only argument possible. Okay? And they say that my system is based on this particular book. Now the problem with that particular book or anything is we believe that the Vedas originate from a divine origin and no human mind has entered. Okay, human mind has not corrupted some of these Vedic teachings. Whereas Anything else which comes from the human mind, we can't accept as ultimate authority. Now, what is divine origin or what is human mind originated? There is some, it doesn't require super intelligence to understand what is that. So, what is of human origin or where human mind is corrupted? There will be always corruptions and teachings which are not universal in nature. If God has given something, the teachings will be universal in nature. Wherever the teachings are not universal in nature, please understand there is a corruption by human mind. Okay. So now there is a system in India which is based on Vedic as reference, where there is a discussion take place. There is a system in India, even though it's not Vedic reference, but belief systems and practice are common, like Buddhism and Jainism and Sikhism. Okay, there is some dialogue and existence is possible. And there are systems which don't have Veda as reference at all. There you don't have much any other way. There's only argument possible. Are you clear? Any questions? Oh, yeah, Subbu.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, Subbu, it's a supplementary question or a different question?
I mean, it's about this Shankara Mandana Mishra. If the argument is based on logic and intellect, like why do they have to decide the winner based on flowers?
No. That is an objective. But the discussion has happened, the understanding has happened at the intellectual level.
Yeah.
That means she's giving only that as a proof, additional.
Okay.
It's not that is decided based on the flower.
Okay.
Alright? She has come to a conclusion that this guy is losing.
But did she give any basis for it? Like,
Yeah,
why?
she will give that.
Okay.
She will give that. And then say that because of, then I can see even your flowers are.
Okay. And second thing is like Shankara talks about Jnana Kanda, right? And this guy talks about Karma.
Karma Kanda.
So both are like completely different.
They are not. They are not. The Karma Kanda purpose is to discover, realize Brahman. Jnana Kanda purpose is to realize Brahman. So Shankaracharya is proving that Jnana is the best way to reach Brahman. The purpose is same. The methodology is different.
Okay. But through karma, it can never happen, right?
That again I will teach you in Brahma Sutra. Okay, Brahma Sutra, there is an argument and counter argument how that happens. I will teach you separately. Through karma is required. Okay, that I mean there is a lot of subtlety in that, right? It is not the karma, but the understanding and the way you do karma makes a difference. Okay, so that I will teach you separately.
Guruji, related to this topic, I was in my own last 2 weeks of discovery. Right, you taught us the roles, right? Roles. Roles. Roles is, if you are aware, you'll be playing the roles. But the human, who are not aware, they relate to an identity.
Correct.
Identity is, for example, I am a Christian, I am a Hindu.
Mm-hmm.
Even I am an Advaiti, I am a Dvaiti.
Right.
All these are identities.
Correct.
The conflict starts because you are sticking to the identity and make an argument.
Correct. See the problem. Yeah, true.
And the moment you become aware, then the argument shifts.
Yeah, but the problem is people are not aware, right?
Hmm.
See, the system is actually people are starting from a point of very strong identity, and they try to defend it. They try to understand it.
Right.
If there are awareness, what is this? Why the systems are required, right? That's why our Vedas Upanishads are very proclaim that Vedaha bhavanti aveda. One who is realized, even Vedas become
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Correct.
It is no more important. Okay, so but then all these are reference and schooling and discipline is required for a person who is on the path. He'll obviously come with identity, but obviously come with and anything a little bit this way that he'll get confused. He'll find out.
And shifting from identity itself is a big realization.
Yeah, but then it requires a master. Okay, so the teaching, the realization cannot happen without a master. Guru Kripa, without a master's grace, the realization cannot happen. Now many of the people have to depend on texts rather than the master's grace. Text also master's grace, but the understanding and interpretation will become is not easy.
That explains the conflict.
Okay, you are asking some question?
Sir, you mentioned that that which is present in the Upanishads and Vedas are like a person explaining daylight, a person who has sight explaining the light. But all the interpretations which come after that is like a blind person trying to
No.
understand.
The interpretation, the people who interpret are the masters. They are also realized souls. That's why they are called darshanikas. They are not the blind people.
But the bhumika of all these realized souls are different, like the
Yeah.
mountain example.
Whom they are addressing, for whom they are teaching. Right? So that's why always I say that any teaching you should not take out of the context. The teaching has to be context of the person who is listening. Right?
Yes.
Any questions? I think stop. It is actually India, this Dvaita, Advaita, Vishishta, they say, it's not fighting actually.
But
That followers they'll do, but that Indian philosophical system is not fighting actually.
just the other day when I was reading the Sumadha Vijaya, Madhvacharya's Digvijaya Charitam, there is this sentence where Madhvacharya says that Shankaracharya is the avatar of a demon, some money mantra.
I don't think Sumadhu Vijay is written by somebody.
It was written by Madhvacharya's own student.
They'll write, okay. So Sumadhu Vijay is written by somebody, not Madhvacharya. Then Shankara Vijay is not written by Shankaracharya. In Shankara Vijay, there are so many miracles are there. Nothing of that is happened. Right? What happens is that the master is one thing and disciples are another thing. They have a lot of I'll tell you, the master and disciple, the gap will be so much. Okay, the master says yes, then this guy says yes. Anyway, the first thing is that philosophical argument is not a fighting. Okay, philosophical argument is not at all fighting. It is to understand the viewpoint and counter viewpoint, and the Indian system was such that it respected logic and discussion. I'll explain to that. But it is not a fighting. But over a period of followers, what happens is that they don't understand this subtlety of logic and all. They'll become gross. And also, I'll start once I start recording, I'll explain each of them. So it's not a fight in that sense. It's not a fight between Islam and Christianity and or Islam and Hinduism and Christianity. It's not like that. Hinduism and Christianity and Islam, they don't have anything in common. They fight. Okay. In India, everything is with reference to Veda. So there's a it is like a law interpretation. Okay, constitutional interpretation. So they'll discuss, argue. This can be interpreted this way. This can be interpreted this way. Right? But reference is same. But in India, Hinduism and Christianity, there is no reference. Okay, and we don't accept whatever reference they say. The Vedas are reference. Okay, whereas they have a this is actually where I want to write something on Brahma Sutra. Okay, so I'll tell you how that system works. March. I need to get some free time. Now it's not this thing, but I'll complete everything. All scriptures I'll eat away.